Anytime there's like a delta neutral yield available, like there is with the futures right now, or any kind of thing that approximates the proof of work ETH value, large hedge funds, kind of like us or someone else, will definitely participate in those, just because you can procure. It is essentially, at the end of the day, it's kind of free money if you intend to sell the proof of work ETH. And so, yeah, there's been broad participation in that, and I would almost argue that one of the reasons BTC has performed so poorly in the last 2 or 3 months is because the most consensus trade is short BTC, long ETH, i.e., long the FBTC ratio. There's a lot of money to be made there, and everybody's kind of aware of it. I think the last thing in the stack is probably actually going on the proof of work ETH chain and running a bunch of strategies to accumulate as much of it and then bringing that back out and selling it, because it is kind of also costless and neutral. So that's also shaping up to be a very popular way to play this as well. And I think we know people investing a lot of resources in doing that.
Can you explain that last point just a little more?
About procuring proof of work ETH on that chain?
Yeah.
Well, for example, let's say you had token A, and token A's got a pool on ETH right now where it's like, it's a typical Uniswap V2, so half-half. And, post-merge, you have that same value on the proof of stake chain, but you now also have that pool on the proof of work chain. Well, your token's actually worthless because the project's on proof of stake. So what you'd want to do is be the first person to sell it to procure as much of the proof of work ETH as possible, i.e. drain that pool. And because that's the only thing that's going to have value. And so there's this game where everybody's finding a way to procure as much of the proof of work ETH on the proof of work chain after the merge as they can, because that'll be the only way to get money off the chain and basically make money. Does that make sense?
Oh, gotcha. I guess I assumed that many assets would be just automatically forked onto the beacon chain, so that there wouldn't really be this demand for that proof of work token in order to facilitate that transaction or even that bridge.
The proof of stake chain is going to continue next block, and an average user, the chain ID doesn't change, so they're never going to know. But that proof of work chain will live on, and every token on that chain is worth 0 except the proof of work ETH. And so all the schemes by which you go in, you drain the Aave money market, you drain the two pools, you do a bunch of trading strategies ahead of time to get as much ETH as you can, maybe borrow as much from Aave and then post merge you have a bunch, because the only token of value is that proof of work ETH on the proof of work chain. So if you think about it, let's say there's $500 million in the ETH USDC pool, right? Well, USDC is publicly stated they're not going to support the chain, so that's now worth 0. So, but the proof of work ETH isn't. And so how do you siphon as much of that proof of work ETH out of that pool as possible and then go sell it on some exchange? So that'd be a trade that somebody's going to be executing on.
Gotcha.
Because those two pools will still operate.
Yeah, right. that becomes just a game of speed.
Cool.